right, here we go. We are finally 10 episodes into this thing. What started as just an exciting idea has morphed into a wonderful show, and we're happy to be back in the saddle again. Happy May, everybody. I know the weather outside doesn't certainly look like it, but we are now into the official bridge month. At least that's what a lot of Erieites call it, between spring and summer. And what that means is that we still have a lot of sports rolling around. We've got some great ideas and excitement things for the summer, but most importantly, we continue along on this podcast. Welcome in, everybody. We are streaming live tonight from the U6 Tap House on the corner of 4th and State in downtown Erie. I'm Isaac Petcash. It has been a very, very busy month of April. We, of course, last week had an extended episode from 6 to 8 o'clock. We were talking Day of Giving, and we're going to give a couple of thank yous and shout outs throughout the show for so many of you and your gratitude and your donations and gifts for our athletic programs and teams and just what that meant to so many of them. We shattered records both from an athletic department perspective and from a university perspective, so we're excited to be able to bring you all the details on that. We got a lot going on the show tonight. Most of it is going to be talking about the links because men's and women's golf next week take up the entire week for regional competition. The women start early next week. The men will begin on Thursday. And, of course, on the men's side, you don't have to go very far to watch them in the Atlantic East Regional. They're going to be playing at Whispering Woods Golf Club just a few miles down the road. So we're going to talk to a couple of Italians on the team to talk about that regional coming up in a couple of minutes, and the excitement with that. We'll also hear from now 3 straight-time PSAC champ Dee Peterson and head coach Scott Stano as they're getting set to head to the regional themselves. Here's the rest of the show rundown. As we talked about men's golf, they're getting set for that regional tournament. So many great and talented linksters on the course coming up starting on Thursday. And of course, as we mentioned, Dee Dee's going to talk to us about so many things. Her record-shattering performance in her 3rd individual championship, now 6 straight PSAC titles for the women's golf team, and to boot, they get a chance now to really make a run at nationals and the regional coming up. We'll also recap some of the end-of-the-year awards. Gannon Athletics held our end-of-the-year celebration, the 16th annual Golden Knight Awards, on Tuesday evening. We're going to recap just some of the many awards that were given out and who, if in case you missed it, who took home Senior Student Athlete of the Year and some other awards as well, plus some all-conference honors to get to in just a couple of minutes as well. So much happening tonight, so much happening throughout this and the rest of the week and the month of May. So we hope you'll kick off your week and your month with us for the next 60 minutes or so. We, of course, though, have to get started with the U6 Tap House's Dish of the Day. We do this every single week, a dish that every single week never fails to disappoint. So here we go, starting things off, Dish of the Day on this Thursday on May 1st. For the last few weeks, we've been going with more of a appetizer theme, and of course, who doesn't like that, right? It's just delicious food that you can eat whenever. But tonight, we're going with what you could call the healthy route, and that is tonight's dish of the day. It is the chicken gorgonzola salad. We have a demo of it right here. It looks delicious. Unfortunately, I can't eat it throughout the episode. Otherwise, I would have to have Giovanni do the entire episode for me. You can take a look. It's got so many great things: little balsamic dressing, tomatoes, lettuce, chicken, the works. So much greatness in just one tiny bowl. And the great part about our dish of the day is you can get our dish of the day $2 off every single Thursday. Whichever plate is featured for our dish of the day is $2 off between 6 and 10 o'clock. So what better? Come down here, enjoy the podcast till 7, then you can get the chicken gorgonzola salad for $2 off tonight. And every Thursday, dish of the day is $2 off only at the U6 Tap House. Speaking of the Tap House, of course, you can watch all of our events away from home, events that aren't happening on the Gannon campus, every single day at the Tap House, streaming live on the corner of 4th and State. And again, in case you have missed some of our events earlier, my goodness, there has been so much to get to and so much to talk about. So make sure to make your way down to the U6 Tap House. They've got so many great things on tap, no pun intended, for what has been just such a wonderful, wonderful month of April. And we're so excited to celebrate our Golden Knight athletes for this and the remainder of the next couple of months. All right, let's go ahead and get into the show, shall we? We've got a lot of live guests to get to as we roll along here. I'm going to switch my headsets and microphones, and we're going to get ready to bring on a couple of our student athletes who are getting set to take part in the NCAA D2 Atlantic Regional. Now, the great thing about that this year, in case you missed it, that regional is being held right in our own backyard. Whispering Woods Golf Course in McCain is getting set to host the Atlantic Regional. And, of course, is the course that our student athletes on the men's and women's team call home. We got a taste of it just a couple of weeks ago in the Atlantic Regional preview, and my goodness, was it such a wonderful event. And the guys trying to replicate what they've done so much in the regular season, and that's win and continue to be successful, both as individuals and as a team. So we'll see how all that plays out as we roll along throughout the season. Gentlemen, if you want to scooch a little bit closer to me as we get ready to chat things here, we are happy to bring on two Italians, in which cuisine I'm very jealous of. I've never been there, but I can't wait to get there. Mattia Perini and Giovanni De Lorenzi joining us on the show. You'll see them both in the Atlantic Regional Tournament starting on Thursday. Gentlemen, first and foremost, we were talking a little bit to you off air, Gio, about who has the better courses, the U.S. or your home country of Italy? Do you prefer American courses? Do you prefer courses back home? What say you when it comes to that?
There is no question that the American courses are a lot better than the Italian ones, just because there's so many here.
Yeah,
there's so many. So when you have 1,000 courses, 100 are bound to be very, very good.
Okay,
golf is a bigger industry here. There's a lot more money, and golf is much better here.
I was curious because, again, and I think it's appropriate to start with this, you guys, because Gannon University and Gannon Athletics has a really diverse student population that come from overseas, and both of you, of course, make the move to America. You become a student athlete here at Gannon, Mattia, and I want to just ask both of you, but I'll start with you, Mattia. That transition from coming from Italy, moving to America, and of course it's a new scene, sight unseen. You have to get used to new people. What was that transition like when you began it? And can you remember back to some of the things that you had to go through, had to kind of learn to make that transition possible?
So that was my first time in America when I came here. So it was kind of a shock.
Yeah.
Most of all for the language, because in Italy I didn't study much of English. Like Gio had the opportunity to study a lot of English, so he was ready for it. I wasn't ready, so the first few months it was kind of hard. But thank you to my teammates, especially Gio, because he helped me a lot. I was ready to. I was able to pick up with the language, and then everything else was just fun for me. After that was the biggest obstacle of all, the language.
Gio, one of the things that we know about you and both of you, and maybe you'll get a chance to see this as an audience because we're going to be talking to them for a while here tonight, is you're very good at communicating. You have a really great people personality. So for you, when you came here, what was the key to just adapting, adjusting as quickly as you could? Because, for you, you come to the U.S., and now you're thrust into a situation where you're playing right away. Golf is a year-round sport.
I mean, golf is a year-round sport also in Italy. That's basically all I do back home. When I don't know what to do, I just go to the golf course. And but the thing that was shocking, as per se, is that my mom was not cooking me dinner anymore. So, that was the biggest shock, honestly. And I had to learn how to cook myself dinner. That was the biggest thing.
Did it take a little bit to learn how to cook yourself?
No. Because my mom gave me a little crash course just before I came here.
So it's okay. It's a podcast. We can do this. Yeah. We're going to go off topic here.
Yeah.
Give me the top 3 dishes that your mom would make back home.
Mom was a very good cook. She definitely is really good at making pasta with peas and prosciutto. That's one of her best dishes. Kind of unorthodox if you think about it, but it's a great combo. It's a pretty popular dish back home. Then she is really, really good at making lasagna, of course, because she's Italian.
That's a must.
Yes. And she's also good at making fried chicken. Yeah.
Is that something
fried chicken?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that something that's common back home?
No, not at all.
Not really. It's not really common.
That's why she makes it, and I love it.
Yeah.
Mattia, how about for you? Were your parents big into cooking? I can imagine somebody in your family was.
Yeah, my grandma is really big at cooking.
Okay.
Not my mom. She doesn't like it very much, but she had to. Yeah. But if I have to say one really good plate from my grandma is gnocchi. That is really famous from my region, and I miss that. Let's say that.
I'm jealous, and I'm sure that what we have here doesn't compare to what you have back home. But Hopefully you're at least enjoying the fried chicken part. At least is nice to know that you have some of what's home here in America. The two of you are about 3.5 hours away, if I remember it right, from each other. And now over the last couple of years, you've got a chance to play with each other as a team. Gio, when you look at this season in particular, your team, of course, accomplished something that never happened before. You won the PSAC team championship. But, in talking to your coach this past week, he talked about that it took a lot of trials and tribulations to get to where you are today, whether it be the ups and downs, the grinding to where you were. From your perspective, take us through the season, kind of what you've really liked and how you've gotten to where you are today to be in a position in the regional this week.
Yeah, so of course we came off very hot of last season as we won the regionals and we went to nationals, which for me was the first time because my freshman year we didn't make it. We had a little bit too many mistakes. The preparation was good, but it wasn't good enough to win because of course we didn't win my freshman year. And last year we had a great team culture building up to the regional. We learned more about ourselves to play better as a team, and that definitely showed when we came in this season because we started very very hot. We won 6 tournaments, if I'm not wrong. I think we won 6 tournaments. We only didn't win the first and the last in the fall, and the first tournament definitely gave us a window into what we lacked, and we went right on it to work, and there was no stopping us after that.
And I think it's fascinating you talk about that because there was pressure on this team this year, right, Mattia? You come off that regional championship, you get to PSACs, and for you also win the individual championship. How do you carry that momentum over? And I guess, there's a saying in sports, and I'm sure both of you have learned this now, that you go from being the hunter to the hunted. And I know that's probably not your mentality, but what was the key in just kind of seamlessly, I guess is the word, going from your success at the spring of last year to all of a sudden coming into the fall and really, as Gio mentioned, dominating the way you did?
So the most important thing for us is just play hole after hole. At the end of the day, just golf. So we want to have fun with our friends because we are friends more than teammates. We consider ourselves family. So when we play golf, when we play one hole, that's the most important thing we're doing. But after we finish the hole, that's the past. So we're going forward. So it's step after step. That's kind of our mentality. It's always been that, and I think that's the key of our success.
Let's talk about the mental game of golf, if we will, because this is such an important part of the conversation. We will hear this from D.D. Peterson later in the show. We were talking to your head coach on the show a couple of weeks ago, and the mental part of the game is so important in all sports. Of course, we've seen our student athletes do such an impeccable job at that portion, and again, making sure whether it's remembering your classes, remembering just to stay calm on the field of competition. Gannon does such a great job of that, but Mattia, you were talking about staying calm. And I think when so many of us are on the course, the average Joes, if you will, you have a bad hole, it sets the mood in a negative way for the rest of the round.
Yeah.
How do you learn as a golfer, especially a top collegiate golfer as this team is, to keep that composure? And what does it take to not get flustered in situations like you've seen yourself, whether it's last year in the regional, this past year in the PSAC, and ultimately this upcoming week in the region?
So I learned a lot from last year. I was just a freshman last year, so every time I was playing bad, I was getting frustrated. Most of the times the weather was bad, so I was not ready for that.
You got used to it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Coming from Italy, I was not ready for that.
Yep.
So it was not helping me to play better. Then after I finished the season, I talk with, especially with my mom, also with my coach back home. And I mean, whenever I play bad, I just look around. I'm playing around in nature. I love that. I could be in class, but I'm not in class. I'm playing golf, and that's pretty good. And then I'm playing for a team with people that I really love, I care about. So that's what I think. And then, as I say, at the end, it's just golf. I'm playing for fun. I'm competitive, yes, but for me, golf most of all is fun, and that's how I try to stay positive and composed.
Gio, what about for you? I mean, we saw even, I think you're a great example a couple of weeks ago. You were telling me off air before the show it wasn't your best showing in a couple of days, and then you get to a playoff hole and you sink a 15-foot birdie putt that was sliding. For you, the mental part, what has been the learning curve and the key for you in just being composed out there?
I mean, there's a very important quote from Brooks Koepka that he said a couple years back. He says that when you think you have it, you think you can never lose it, and then when you lose it, you think you can never get it back. That's a thing that is very hard to do in golf. Never giving up. Sometimes you get on you get a bit complacent, but you cannot do that. And as a team, we have learned not to do that. We have learned to never give up. We have learned to know that the next shot might be the best of your life, and it could be completely game changing. You can go from making a double bogey to making an eagle on the next. So that's the beauty of golf. So we have learned to, as Matthias said, go hole after hole, shot after shot, and try to give the best of ourselves on each and every shot. And that definitely is the approach that we have to the golf course, and that has helped us a lot.
Is there a professional golfer that the two of you model your game after? I'm just curious because there's so many options. I just wonder if there's one that you grew up watching that you like to try to model your game after.
Yeah, for me, it's Rory McIlroy.
Okay.
So I was
Good foot.
really happy because few weeks ago he won the Masters.
Right.
So yeah,
I think
that
we
was
all
my
were
idol.
happy. We all were happy.
I
about
was
that.
so happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about
Amazing.
you, Gio? Is it anyone?
So one of my favorite golf players is Phil Mickelson. I absolutely love Phil Mickelson. My short game is not as good as his. But I'm working on it. But definitely, whenever I'm in the trees, I always try to pull off the craziest shot. That's the way. Even in the regional preview, I had a shot off of a bog in the mud through the trees. It went out perfect.
There you go.
Yes, saved me one stroke.
Well, here's the thing. It's not a crazy shot if you make it look easy, right? I mean, you were
Yeah.
talking about Rory in the Masters. How many times did we see him hit from out of the trees
Yeah,
or out of
yeah.
the rough? And some of the things you guys and these guys do, you make the hard shots look easy.
Yeah.
And there's some of us who are watching the show right now that are thinking, I get a ball in the middle of the fairway and I duck for 15 yards. I want to ask, gentlemen, because you mentioned the adjustment of just generally moving to America. What is the difference between golf courses back home and golf courses here? Is there, whether it's the stimp of the greens, whether it's the layout of the golf course, was there something game-wise and skill-wise that the two of you had to learn differently from what you're used to back home? I'm just curious kind of how the courses shape up that make it a little bit different, maybe that some of the things you had to get adjusted to.
I think that for both of us was the greens.
Yeah,
Greens?
Because
100%.
here in America are
They're
really,
fast.
really fast.
Very
Back home they're not fast. So the first few times we play at Whispering Woods. For me, it was really hard to not make free putts.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got used to it because everything else, golf courses in Pennsylvania, are similar to the one we play
Right.
back home.
Also, the grass is
Yeah.
very similar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It was just the greens. Yeah.
Like, what are we talking? Are we talking? I mean, it's like way faster.
Yeah, way faster.
Way
faster.
Way faster. Also, the way they take care of them, I feel,
Yeah.
is way more professional because here in America they can use chemical things to help the golf course be in its best shape. While in Italy, that's not the case. It's like abolished by some law or something. So the golf course that we have a lot of sicknesses, a lot of fungi on the greens especially.
Okay.
So they cannot always be in the best shape. So greens here are amazing. Once you learn to putt on them, it's really good.
That's really interesting. I take the slow greens. I don't know about you. I need to plan a trip to Italy at some point too. Matteo Perino and Giovanni Di Lorenzi joining us on the United Podcast. Men's Golf Regional at Whispering Woods is set for a week from today with an early morning start. I'd love to, if the both of you are able to, just kind of provide some background. Every single student athlete is a great story. We saw on the Day of Giving live stream a week ago, I was asking some student athletes, how'd you get into your sport? What made you interested? And some of the stories were just so fascinating. I want to ask the both of you the same. What got you into the sport of golf? Take us through, if you would, and we'll start with maybe Gio, kind of the childhood journey as to how you got brought up with the sport, how you became interested, and kind of how that came to be with your love for the game on the links.
Yeah. So my love of golf is something that doesn't come from my family at all. My family, they're all into racing cars, motorsports. That's what I should have done when I grew up. And I didn't play golf until I was 6. I picked up a golf club at 6, but not because my parents wanted me. It's because they got as a gift a golf lesson and my grandparents weren't home, so I just went with them. And then I was like, you know what? This is fun. I'll go to another lesson. And then I started taking lessons from my first coach, Mauro Moraldo. Big shout out to him. Uh, and then I just progressed, and I started liking it. I started doing competitions, and it was a lot of fun. And sometimes I ended up winning, and that was more fun. And so I just decided to stick with it and fell absolutely in love with the game of golf.
It's a fascinating story, Mattia. Yours, I'm sure, also has a really nice touch to it as well. Take us through
Yeah.
what got you into golf.
So I started really early when I was 2 years old,
Okay.
especially because my dad started playing golf with my brother.
Oh, okay.
He's 4 years older than me, so he was six, and I was really jealous about that. So let's say that after asking a lot of times, they brought me with them. I started playing, and for me, it was just love at first sight.
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved how competitive it was, and I also loved the culture of my golf course back home.
Yes.
And
One of the best cultures, I have to say, of any golf courses.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say Gio was singing the praises of the course you played on back home.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's the best.
Yeah, it's
I'm
the best
I'm
one.
I'm very biased.
Okay. Okay.
And then just the first few years were just trying to get better than my brother.
Yeah.
And then I ended up being the only one playing because my brother stopped playing golf. My dad stopped playing golf too. And then I loved the friends that they made while playing golf. They're really good, so I just try to always get better, and that's about it.
Now let's be
Yeah.
honest. Stop playing because they didn't want to play anymore, or stop playing because you finally caught up to them and surpassed them.
Probably for that. Yeah. No.
I understand. It's harder as an older brother
Yeah.
to have your younger brother beat you
Yeah.
in something. I have the same problem with my younger brother. He's better
Actually,
than me at
my brother restart playing
golf. Okay.
a few years back. Now I'm helping him.
So
Yeah,
you're gonna
yes,
have some
we switch roles, yeah.
one-on-one competitions
Yeah.
when you get home. I love it. I love it. Guys, it's been so incredible to watch the both of you and this entire team have so much success, and of course with this program. And I know that you both have a great relationship with Coach Scott and what he's brought in your decision-making process for going to college, coming to America, because for international students that's even that much more difficult, right? Making that
100%.
decision to move countries. When you were making your decisions, what about Gannon really piqued your interest and made you say, I want to be a Golden Knight?
Yeah. So I got recruited by Dustin 3 years ago,
Right.
the old coach, and when I spoke to him, I really understood there was a positive team culture. He was a very proactive person, because there's a lot of coaches, and I even tried to transfer at one point, but I ended up staying here because there's a lot of coaches out there that have great golf programs, but the culture of the team is not that good. The coach doesn't care a lot, and I even talked to a coach once. I'm not gonna name him, and I'm not gonna name the university he's from.
That's a good thing.
He had
Thank you.
we had our first phone call, and he was in his bed, just laying down, and I was like, "Is this serious? Like, is this real?" And then I of course never talked to him. Well, that thing didn't happen with Gannon. I felt like it was a very proactive, very engaging conversation all the time. Always trying to set goals for the
Yeah.
next season. Always trying to be the best version of ourselves, and grinding for it. Not taking things for granted. So that's why I made this choice. And on top, I felt like Gannon was a place where I could really improve my golf game, pursue this passion for golf, and uh, continue to do my studies, because I'm an engineering major, and
Yeah.
that's something that not all schools can offer if you want to play golf.
Right. And again, the student athlete experience. Mattia, for you, what made you really intrigued and interested in being a Golden Knight?
So when I was looking for a school, I was looking for a school that was able to win tournaments because I had a lot of friends that went to the States
Yeah.
and just ended up in places, first of all, that were in the middle of nowhere. I like Erie because for us Italians, it's a big city and there's a lot of things to do around.
Yeah.
And then they also ended up in places where they were winning. Just as a team and as individuals, they were coming. As a team, they were coming fifth out of eighth team, and that was important for me. Finding a school where I was able to win with my teammates, and I was also recruited by Dustin, and he gave me this feeling of like winning culture. So I started looking at the results, and I still remember that they won 5 tournaments out of 5 for the full season. So it was, yeah, that's a school that knows how to win, and so I just decided to come here.
Yeah, the lineage between Coach Coleman and now Coach Stano continuing greatness with the Golden Knights, and we get to see these two coming up this week. So let's talk about the regional. There are going to be some people on here that have played Whispering Woods before and understand the course, but many of the people watching have not. So, gentlemen, we saw it 2 weeks ago, and of course, throughout the whole season, you play at Whispering Woods, your home course. But it's not easy, and everybody knows that. What are some of the things about the course? I don't want to ask you to give too much away, but what are some of the things that you've been able to learn when playing on there that you think might just be able to help you when it comes to maybe the consistency part, Gio, of this event?
Well, Whispering Woods is a golf course that is very tee shot oriented. If you have good tee shots, you cannot play bad. But it is really, really hard to have 18 good tee shots.
Yes.
Really hard. Most courses give you a leeway. If you're in the woods, you can chip it out. Whispering Woods, the woods whisper, and they whisper bad things to you. So you do not want to go in them because you cannot get out.
Yeah.
With an easy way out. I mean, it happened to me in the preview that I did, but it was just luck. If you end up in the trees, it's 9 out of 10 you're making a bogey or worse. So that's the hardest thing. And the greens look easy, but they're really hard because they all have a constant slope. They're all sloped in some way, shape, or form, and they have mini slopes too, which doesn't make it easy at all. So greens and tee shots, in my opinion, is really hard there.
It's a very appropriate thing with the Whispering Woods mantra. I would also say confiscating woods because there are a lot of golf balls that have been confiscated by the woods there too, and no one's been able to find them, crazy enough. Mattia, in learning this course and learning just how to be able to play it, take us through what exactly is the key to not being intimidated by a course like this? Because I think in a lot of situations, student athletes or just regular golfers will look at this course, will step into the tee box, and they'll think, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. How do you kind of rationalize that with yourself?
So it's pretty hard, especially Whispering Woods. But what I do usually is just trying to take a big breath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
same. Yeah.
Take one big breath and then hit it.
Just focus, see my aiming point, and just hit the ball there with confidence. That's what I try to do. I know it's really hard to do because you need a lot of practice to do it.
Yeah.
But if I can give one advice, try to use the slopes on the fairway. I don't know if people that are watching knows the course, but like on hole number 1, there's a big slopes on the left. So just hit it on the slope and the ball's going to come down. Just playing
bank
the slopes.
It in the slope.
Yeah,
yes.
It's really important in the Whispering Woods.
Yeah, and it's easier said than done. These guys, most of the time, more often than not, do it. And so, gentlemen, we got a few minutes left with the both of you here. I want to just ask about the excitement of getting to play in this regional. We know you won it last year, and that, of course, is something that every single year and for the rest of time we'll be talking about at Gannon. But the fact that it gets to be at home and you get to play, in essence, in your own backyard, or at least your second home's backyard, Mattia, what's that going to be like, knowing that you're going to have that home course advantage, but also be able to get to host something that is really, really big and is forward-facing from the NCAA?
For me, it's really special. I hope a lot of people are going to come watch us because I would like to them to be there and see how good we are because we are a really good team. And as I said, it's really special because it's our home golf course, and we just want to win. We want to win our home golf course. That's it. That's what we want.
Mattia wants people there to cheer the team on, and you should be there. Gio, I think you want people there so you can win another playoff hole maybe at the end of this thing.
Maybe it would be better if we went without a playoff. That would be a lot better.
I think that would save a lot of stress.
That would save
a
lot of stress,
coach. But I'm sure exciting for you, too, to be able to get to be in your own backyard, to be home for this regional.
Yeah, 100%. So people would be almost intimidated by this thing in a way because say, oh, we're hosting it, we have to win. If you think that way, you're not going to win. What we will do is just go out there with our routine, shot after shot, and we know that if we give our best, nobody else can beat us. So our goal is to give our best on every shot. We know the course. We have an advantage over other people, and we will try to capitalize on that advantage. That's the strategy.
Yeah, we can't wait for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. These two are going to be in the thick of this regional in what will be a very crowded but very competitive field. Gentlemen, I asked Dee Dee this question a couple of days ago. I'm not going to spoil her answer because you're going to get to see it in a few minutes here. But obviously the two of you have gotten to experience golf in a different country. Let's eliminate Augusta National because that's way too easy of an answer. Give me one golf course that you would love to absolutely play at some point in your life before you die.
That's a hard question, but I think for me will be St Andrews because that's the home of golf. So I would like to play a British Open there. Let's say that a major. Yeah,
That would be a lot.
Yeah.
We'd love to get to see you in a major. How about you? How about you, Gio?
I would have to say I think there's a lot of beautiful golf courses.
Yes.
I think I would like to go play at Pebble Beach.
yeah.
Pebble Beach. I've played it a couple of times on the simulator. I've watched a lot of tournaments there.
Right.
I've watched a lot of golf videos from Pebble Beach, and I just think it's one of the most iconic golf courses out there.
And what's neat about it is it's a public course. You can play it if you really wanted to.
Very expensive.
It is. It is. And it also is time consuming because you got to go to the other side of the country. So that's part of it too. Guys, I want to leave with this because, there are so many student athletes who I think look up to veterans like yourself. I know, Mattia, you've only been in the program for a couple of years, but I think we can consider you as a veteran as well. What advice would you have just for prospective student athletes, maybe even those who are considering coming to America, looking at Gannon from overseas, about this university, about this program, and what makes it so special, and just your experience?
Well, I think that what is special about Gannon is the ability to give the best of yourself in everything. A lot of schools where there's good athletic teams, their academics is not that good. A lot of schools that have great academics, their athletic teams are not that good. Gannon offers a good balance, in my opinion. And the teachers, for what I have experienced, they always have allowed me to play golf and do the best in the academic field, because they've never penalized me for missing a test. They've always allowed me to make updates for all my exams in a very lenient way. So I cannot thank them enough, honestly.
How about for you, Mattia, and just your experience and maybe advice to people who are considering coming to Gannon and maybe even from overseas, as you and Gio are?
I would say come to Gannon because it's a small school, so it's really easy to settle in. People are gonna help you a lot. Coaches, professors, as Gio said, athletic directors, everyone is gonna help you. You can make a lot of friends. That's really important because you don't want to go in a place where you just go there and then you just study, play golf, and you have friends. You don't want that. You want to go in a small place like that, make a lot of friends, have fun, and just be a great experience.
Okay,
Yes,
whenever
100%.
I get a trip to Italy, your parents and your grandma are going to have to cook for me at some point. I will make a
100%.
specific stop there just to make sure.
Yes.
I can't even begin to imagine the food that is there.
It's pretty good.
I
Yeah.
have heard it's really.
There
really good.
there isn't one day where you don't eat good food. Yeah.
These two know it better, gentlemen. Mattia, Gio, thank you to both of you. We
Thank
wish
you
you
so
the best
much.
of
Thank you so
luck
much.
coming up this weekend. Let's hope for good weather. Let's hope for fun golf, and let's hope we don't have to take it to a playoff. this time.
Let's hope.
All right, Mattia Parini, Giovanni Di Lorenzi joining us on the United podcast. As they exit, we want to take you back from a couple of things that happened from our end of the year celebration, some awards that we gave out, including our Play of the Year. This is the Gannon Play of the Year.
Taylor with it. Taylor cuts, fires, and buries it! The final 30-second go-ahead goal. The Golden Knights jump back out in front, 29 seconds on the clock.
This is the Gannon Play of the Year.
Taylor with it. Taylor cuts, fires, and buries it! The final 30-second go-ahead goal. The Golden Knights jump back out in front, 29 seconds on the clock.
Big congratulations to Paige Taylor for earning our Gannon Athletics Play of the Year. There were so many incredible nominees. We narrowed the field down to 6, but social media and our athletic voting came up with Miss Taylor for our play of the year. What a goal with under 30 seconds to go to send Gannon women's soccer to the regional final. Other awards that were given out at the banquet from Tuesday included the male and female senior student athlete of the year. The male athlete of the year this year, selected by athletic administration, of course, needs to be of senior status, is Batista Corti, a defender for the men's soccer team. It was really hard to find a time where this man ever came off the field. He was a standout stalwart for head coach Billy Colton and the men's soccer program, just making so many timely plays that often went unnoticed. His resume stands out above so many others, not just in the PSAC, but in all of the NCAA. And we wish Batista best wishes as he continues along in his future endeavors. What a career for Batista Corti. He earns our Gannon Senior Student Athlete Male of the Year. For, in what is a rare occasion, we had a co-female senior student athlete of the year, starting with Emma Hall for Gannon women's volleyball. Well, of course, we know the obvious record that Emma holds. She is well in front in the all-time career digs leader. She's well over 2,000 where that is concerned. She's also had multiple 500 dig seasons and a 600 dig season as well. Hall was such an impressive player, and in the libero position most of the time, such a huge part of Matt Darling's team's runs this past year, in particular to the Elite Eight, and of course through the regional and PSAC tournament in her years at Gannon. And of course, as we've been talking golf a lot in this show, Dee Dee Peterson was the other co-senior female student athlete of the year. She just captured her third consecutive individual PSAC championship on the golf links. That is a record for anybody that has ever played the game in conference. No woman has ever accomplished that feat before. Peterson, of course, part of 4 PSAC team championships, as well as a incredible list of accolades and wins. She's now tied for first in Gannon program history for career wins with 7. So Dee Dee Peterson and Emma Hall were our senior student athletes of the year, along with Batista Corti for the men. So congratulations to them. We, of course, gave out other awards as well. The teams gave out their team MVPs. You can find a list of all the team MVPs and other awards handed out on our website, www.gannonsports.com. Let's stick with the golf, shall we? The men's regional, as we talked about, begins on Thursday. The women's golf regional starts early this upcoming week as well, as Scott Stano and the women's squad will travel to get set for their Atlantic East Regional coming up this week. Earlier, I had a chance to sit down with Coach Stano and Dee Dee Peterson ahead of that exciting regional performance and what they need to do this year to get over that hump to make the national championship coming up this week. All right, they go from PSAC championships to a regional Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this upcoming week. Women's golf getting set for what will be an exciting regional after their not first, not second, not third, not fourth, not fifth, but 6th straight PSAC championship. Dee Dee Peterson, who we'll talk to her in a second about her individual wins, and head coach Scott Stanton, who's going to get no sleep next week, joining us on the pod. Do you have any time to get sleep between now and Monday? And if so, do you plan on sleeping for like 24 hours straight?
No sleep. We'll sleep once the season's over, right? This is a good time of the year. It's fun. You know, you work all season for the opportunity to play in regionals, and so we're just really excited to compete. We came very close on the women's side last year to moving on to nationals, and so we're gonna continue a great week of practice, and hopefully we'll be in the hunt come the final round.
Talk about regionals in a second, but PSAC, it just continues to be unprecedented. A half a dozen straight years of team championships. You were 20 plus strokes better again this year. How gratifying and impressive as it is for you as a coach? I know you're in deep. You make sure that, you know, again, you're just going through it day by day. But when you sit back and reflect, how impressive has this run been for you, if you get a chance to think about it?
It's insane. When I first started, the goal was just to win one, and to win 6 in a row, it's special. It's when you have the group of the alumni come and watch or continue to text you and saying like, hey, we were on the team on number 1 or number 2. It's like, it just builds to the legacy, and it's like the familyhood that we want. And just reflecting, like I said, the goal is only to win one. And to win each year, it's a product of the kids, right? We just try to help them and put them in the proper position and, you know, get them ready for that tournament, but it's fun, right? And nobody nobody likes to lose, but to be in that position each year to give us a chance to win, that's really special. And so I love it. Each year has a special meaning. And this year we had to work a little harder, which was good. And that's going to prepare us over for, hopefully this coming week.
Dee, when you got here as a freshman, did you ever expect that you would have 4 team championships and the success that you did?
No, it wasn't expected. But I'll say we have won all the 4 years that I've been here. Yeah. And the first year when we won, it was kind of like, it was nice. And I think knowing that we have the confidence, like afterwards, that we were like, okay, we're going to do it again. So like I haven't experienced not winning the PSACs, but I still think winning it from the straight start just keeps building on that, like, okay, let's try to make the next one.
The team part is exciting, but of course, the biggest news of the weekend was the history that you made in becoming the first women's golfer to win 3 straight individual championships. I know it probably hasn't sunk in yet, and you still have part of your season to go. So I know it's hard to kind of reminisce, but when you just think about what you've been able to accomplish there as an individual and being able to make history, how meaningful is that to you, and how exciting is it to know that you're the first?
Well, it is very meaningful, and I'm excited that I was able to make it happen. In my second year, I won the first one, and I was like, really, wow. I was like, okay, I won PSACs. And then the year after, whenever we started the PSACs, my third year then, I was trying to be like, let's go for it again, because I might get it again. And then this year I was like, you know what? Let's try again. And so I'm just very happy that I was able to make it. This year was a little bit of a close call. The other years were too, but I could feel that this time, like, I had to kind of fight for it the whole way, but I was like, I want to make this happen. I want to try and get the third one.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because it is difficult to win 1. It is really difficult to win 2, and again, 3 is unheard of and has never happened before. But I want to ask you, Dee, how big is the power of belief? Because you just talked about, like, okay, maybe it wasn't surprising, but it was relieving that you won your first. When you got that belief, whether it was the end of your sophomore year, your junior year now, how powerful was that for you in terms of just taking your career onward and upward?
Well, I think in golf especially, it's a lot about numbers. And I think once you have seen and proven to yourself that you can do it, like you can go that low or you can win, like you just kind of have that in the back of your mind constantly, and like, I've done it before, so I can do it again. So I think, especially in the world of golf, having the belief that you can do it is a very powerful tool. And yeah, it's just, because I won the first PSACs, I was like, it's not out of my reach. So having that belief of like, I can do it again possibly, really helps going forward.
Coach, I know that everyone on the team is so important, but for what you've seen out of Dee in the years that she has been here, there may never be a player like her again. There arguably hasn't been one here at Gannon. Just take me through what Dee has meant to you on this team and how important she's been for the growth of this program.
I mean, we communicate all the time. I mean, she is the team captain. So she has a little bit of extra responsibilities that goes on with that. She's always listens to what we have to say, and we're always trying to get better. And she's, even though she's really, really good, she wants to get better and what kind of shots that we have to do. And we'll miss her. Can we get a waiver? But no, she means a lot to the program, but she's overall a good person. That's the most important thing. Yeah, golf is great, and the records are meant to be broken, and so hopefully, no offense, Dee, we'll find somebody to break it someday, but what she's meant to this team is second to none, right? And so her legacy is going to last on forever, and what she's done to help her teammates is going to last forever too. It's not one situation, okay, when Dee does graduate, she's gone and forgotten. Yeah. That's not what it's going to happen. her legacy is going to remain with the team forever, especially with the teammates that she has, and she's taught them, hopefully, that they'll use that knowledge that Dee Dee's taught to then trickle down to the incoming freshmen. And that's what it's all about part of this family. I mean, we have kids who've graduated in 2018 and 2019 that their presence is still on this team.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen with Dee Dee as well.
To beat Dee Dee, it's going to take literal perfection to break the streak of 4 straight years. So we'll see what happens in the future. Let's talk about the regional, though. You mentioned, Scott, and we were going to bring this up, how close you were last year, and that I know you as a team feel like you are right there and in a position where you're that close to the opportunity to participate at national championships. When you look at last year, what are some of the little things that you think can get you from on the edge to in a spot at national championships?
Last year, the first round, I think we wanted it so bad in a good, positive way that we weren't necessarily thinking everything through. The golf course is set up tough, which is really cool because this golf course we played 2 years ago. And so Dee Dee and Andrea have experience playing at this golf course, which will help. But I think we just need to realize you can't win it on the first day, but you can lose it on the first day. So instead of, taking the riskier shot, is to more, a bogey's not going to hurt us. It's the doubles and the triples, and if we can fix that part, because the last 2 days last year we were right there, and so we're just going to clean up things. We're going to have a great practice round on Sunday, and we're going to formulate a nice game plan to which holes we can attack, which holes we can't. We'll come up with a nice game plan, and I think we'll be there again this year.
That is the nice thing about it, that you have 2 in your lineup that are going to be with experience. Dee Dee, you're one of those. What about this course makes it difficult, makes it challenging? Some of the things that you remember from a couple of years ago that you can kind of take into this year, this upcoming week?
I do remember the last time we played it, the weather conditions was also a little harsh.
That doesn't help.
No, it was rainy, cold, and very windy, but the course was still, it's on the harder side because it's a long course, and there are a few of the holes that have the hay that's like this tall that you have to hit it over in order to continue playing your hole. So there are some holes that will definitely require smart play and understanding where to miss also in order to hopefully make the par and just move on from that hole. It is a course that requires a lot of thinking, a lot of strategy.
You mentioned hay, fescue, and long drives, and every golfer who's watching this podcast shudders in fear. I understand that. But when you talk, Coach talked about how the first round is really something that you can do to improve, to try to get there for national championships. What, from your perspective and your teammates' perspective, do you think will be key, in addition to what you talked about, of course, making sure you're staying on the fairway, things of that nature? Mentally, though, how do you stay in it mentally and not try to run out ahead, maybe like happened last year in the regional?
I think keeping yourself level-headed, especially on a course like this when you have to be very smart about your play, and as Scott said, take the pars and take the bogey. If you are in deep stuff and you just need to get out, a bogey is not going to hurt you as much as trying to do the hero shots. So keeping yourself, especially also emotionally in control, and just try to get a stable round in. Try to keep it together. And remember, it is the first day, but especially in this regionals tournament, compared to others, in other tournaments, you can for the continuous days, you can, of course, try to play better, but you can also sometimes hope that the other teams also struggle. But I think when it comes to this regionals, we cannot rely on that. We simply just have to keep playing good, playing smart, and getting some good scores in.
Coach, I know this week for you is going to be crazy busy, and you're going to be going back and forth, and of course from women's regionals to Whispering Woods coming up on Wednesday and Thursday. But for you as a coach, and I know that you've been through a few of these now, but how exciting is this week, and maybe just kind of the gratifying experience of knowing that you get a chance to participate in this week and what these teams have been through this year?
This is huge. This is what you practice. This is why we come to school early in August for. Like, this is our national championship. Yeah, PSAX is great, and that's a massive championship, but ultimately you want to compete for a national championship. And so I'm blessed to be able to go back and forth and, hope to coach 2 teams to the national championships, and then we can talk again about, going from Vegas to Florida. Yep. That's going to be fun. That would be fun and exciting. But we just have to hit one shot at a time, right, on both sides, men and women. And we do have the talent, and if we can just control what we can control, I think the rest will take care of itself. But it's just an exciting opportunity to, compete at the highest level.
One more before I let you go. I asked a couple of the men's golfers in our Day of Giving live streaming last night, Didi, give me one course in the world that if you had the opportunity to play, you could pick any course that you wanted except Augusta National, because that's obvious. What course would you want to play if you had the freedom to pick whichever one you wanted to, and why?
The St. Andrews.
In the old course?
Yeah, just because it holds so much history. Mm-hmm. I just want to see it and experience it, and it almost doesn't matter what I shoot, but I just want to go there.
Monday begins the women's golf regional. Didi Peterson and head coach Scott Stano, along with the rest of that lineup, getting set for what they hope will be enough to get them through to the NCAA championships. Thanks again to Didi for taking time to sit down to enjoy the interview, and congratulations to her for her extremely incredible accolades that she's achieved over the last week and a half to 2 weeks or so. That 3rd straight PSAC individual championship, which is a record for anybody in history, 4 straight team championships, and of course, one of 2 female senior student athletes of the year at the end of the year banquet that we had on Tuesday. All right, time for top 5 plays, and really this week, top 5 moments of the week from Gannon Athletics. We start at number 5. Number 5 goes to softball. Their season ending yesterday in the PSAC tournament, but before that, clinching since 2011, Gannon has not missed the PSAC tournament. Michelle Wiley's team, just a remarkable run of consistency in the regular season and the early postseason. Gannon softball, one of the powerhouse programs here at our university. Congratulations on a great year for them. At number 4, this is from the Lock Haven series earlier this past week. How about Hunter Troiano? Watch him earn an RBI and then leg out a triple, a stand-up of that variety. Hunter Troiano and the Golden Knights just absolutely dominated this 2-game set on what was senior day this past weekend. Hunter showing off the wheels, and that's going to be the first of 2 plays on our top 5 plays of the week in this game, because at number 3, I mentioned all the runs that Gannon scored in this 2-game set. Well, a couple of them came, specifically 3 of them came off the bat of this man, Chris Mullins, who was celebrating his 21st birthday on this day. Watches one fly way out of here in the cold and in the wind. Mullins, a 3-run home run. He hit 2 home runs in the doubleheader, part of a 35-run barrage for the Golden Knights. They scored 14 runs in Game 1, 21 runs in Game 2, took down Lock Haven in a doubleheader sweep, and their offense was just stifling hot. They split with IUP today to the Golden Knights. They've got 2 more games with the Crimson Hawks coming up tomorrow. At number 2, Caroline Stevens. Congratulations to Caroline at a program record. Most draw controls in a single season with 107. Huge congratulations to Caroline and a wonderful season for her women's lacrosse, wrapping up the year strong with that win at home against Edinburgh. But at number 1, we just heard from her a few minutes ago, Didi Peterson, 3 straight PSAC titles, first women's golfer ever to do so, and she also ties the most wins in program history with 7 with that victory at the PSAC Championship. So those are our top 5 plays of the week and moments of the week. Congratulations to everyone who made the list. Another one coming up next week as well. We'll see all that transpires from the regional, of course, some of the games that happened over the course of the last week in Gannon Athletics as well. Schedule time as we get ready to wrap up our May 1st show. Let's show you what's on tap for the rest of this week and this weekend. All right, it is what's on tap here at the U-Pick6 Tap House, and here is what we have. Baseball, of course, just ended their series against IUP at home today. They'll take on the Crimson Hawks at 1 and 3:30 tomorrow, of course, weather permitting, to conclude the regular season. Softball just wrapped up their PSAC tournament yesterday afternoon, and then we get to the two golfs, as we've been talking all show. Starting on Monday, it's the East Regional from Allendale, Michigan, as women's golf gets ready for what they hope will be enough to get to the NCAA championships. That's starting on Monday. Then on Thursday, men's golf also trying to repeat and continue to claim their title as regional champions, as they will get set for the NCAA D2 Atlantic East Regional. That is coming up at Whispering Woods. It starts Thursday morning. If you are interested in golf at all, we highly recommend you make it out. This is a wonderful team with an amazing amount of student athletes who put in so much dedication and passion. You heard from Mattia Perini and Giovanni Di Lorenzi tonight. This entire team is filled with very, very talented and just down-to-earth great people and golfers. So we can't wait to see what they do starting on Thursday. Make sure to make it out. Enjoy the action. So many competitive races that we'll see on the links coming up Thursday through Saturday. So again, as we leave you tonight, we want to make a mention that coming up next week, it is our next show. It'll be May 8th, Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock back at the U-Pick6 Tap House. And as you end your night tonight, remember that our dish of the day, the chicken gorgonzola salad, is $2 off until 10 p.m. this evening. It is delicious. Got a chance to taste some of it during that interview with Women's Golf. Make sure that you come out right now through 10 o'clock to get this item for $2 off at the U-Pick6 Tap House. All right, as we get set for next week, we'll talk more golf regional, wrap up some of the great moments that happened during the year, and then get you set for what's on tap for the summer, with so much to look forward to in Gannon Athletics, even with the action concluding on the field of competition. We leave you with the week that was as we get ready for another exciting show next week and a great week ahead with so much happening on the golf course. Take care, everybody.